This is a objective battle scenario from Sharp Practice. The French drew the card that says they're going to be the defenders. So this is their camp. This is the objective. So that's their primary point. Then they got a secondary point that they'll put here. There's a river or a stream that goes along this. The bridge is the easiest way. And then there's this little village over here that is going to be significant, as the British and the Portuguese, this is their primary entry point over here at this end of the table. And then they have that movable point there because they have some Spanish guerrillas. And so they'll be able to move that point. And so there's 10 big men that will be at play here. And so this is the table, kind of overlooking it. And so we're going to get started. Well, turn one came. The French got 3 units on. They got this large 3-group infantry unit on there. And then they got 2 of their light groups coming. The British, for their sakes, they got the Spanish guerrillas. They moved up their deployment point, and then they took off from there. And then the Portuguese, under Captain Hector Rios, are coming in on the road there. So that was then the Tiffin card came up, and so that was the end. So turn 2. The French got 2 more units on the table, some grenadiers, a group of grenadiers, and then their skirmisher unit. They were able to move their group of 3 or unit of 3 groups. Their light infantry advanced and got to the bridge. The guerrillas are in the woods there now, and the Portuguese took advantage of 4 flags and got 2 marches. So they are all the way to the church now and coming into a position where they can kind of threaten the flank here. So things are picking up. Third turn is in the books. Third turn is in the books, and everybody's on the table. So the French used 3 flags to get this group of 3 unit of 3 groups up, and these guys moved up. The guerrillas moved into the forest, using that as a thing, protection. Captain Sharp got on the table. The French, though, got a jump on them. They came up over the hill, fired, and they killed 2 riflemen. You can see the blanks there. And then this light unit also got off a volley on the column of Portuguese. It killed 1, inflicted some shock. But they were able to get rid of 1 of them as the sergeant's number came up. So everybody's on the table now after 3 go-arounds of the tokens. We went through all the tokens. The Tiffin was the last token picked up. So things are engaged. It looks like the British are coming in, going to make a strong attack here. The French are ready for it, but we'll see what they can do here on the flank, if they can kind of slow that down. Turn 4, the French definitely had the advantage. They got to fire off several volleys. This large unit was only able to move 3 inches, getting closer. The Voltigeurs fired at the Spanish guerrillas in the woods there and inflicted a casualty. This volley, I think, was like 27 shots and several hits because it was their first round. So 3 of the guerrillas were killed, points of shock were put on each one, and the commander was knocked out, and that caused a bad things to happen roll, so the British lost 1 point. The rifles got a volley off on this group of light infantry. Didn't cause any casualties, but did 7 shock, so they had to pull back, obligated to withdraw. They rolled for a bad thing that happened, and nothing occurred. And then over here, this light company got off another round, took out another Portuguese guy. The Tiffin card was drawn, and so they used the Tiffin flag to advance and then change into formation. So the Portuguese are now ready to be able to fight back, which is probably a good thing. These grenadiers moved up a little bit. The other grenadier company moved up, and then down here, coming down the road, are two companies or two groups of British, a light company or a light group and a grenadier group. The large English formation there, again, rolled a 3, so that's all they were able to accomplish. So things are moving along, and we'll move on to the next turn. So this is turn 5, and this time the British got some licks in. The Tiffin card came up, so this big regiment or big group formation moved up. This group got off another volley into the Guerrillas, so they lost another figure. Captain Sharp was able to move his guys up, and then on the Tiffin card, the big British formation was able to move 7 inches. The Portuguese on the Tiffin card were able to fire into these two groups, and because it was their first volley and all kinds of factors, took out 2 on each of the groups, and then these two British groups were able to. Turn 5 saw the French continue to move up into position here against the larger British unit. The Guerrillas took some more punishment, and then over here on the Tiffin card, a flag was used for the Portuguese to take one movement, and then they broke into formation there, and then they delivered a volley into these two groups, and you can see that they took out 4. So they were all casualties, no fatigue. These two groups are coming up in support, so that's going to put some pressure here on the flank. And this group of grenadiers moved up and to try to kind of be in position to go one way or the other, but it looks like they're going to have to go on the right. So now it's on turn 6. Turn 6 turned out to be a quick one. The Tiffin card came out pretty quickly, but the first token drawn was the Portuguese, and so they fired yet another volley into the hapless groups over here, killing another light infantryman, and then they killed the commander of this grenadier group plus another grenadier. No fatigues, but that was pretty substantial. And then the Tiffin card came out pretty much. And so the French took advantage of the 2 flags they had to move these 2 groups up into position. The one flag that the Brits had, they used to move that, but it only got a single inch. So anyway, it looks like things are going to really start popping here on this flank. And so we'll go on to turn 7. Turn 7 was decisive. We're very close to it. I would think this next turn will do it, as lots happened. So the French got their chip called, and so these 3 groups went up and attacked the Guerrillas and wiped them out. So that dropped the morale for the British a couple points. But then the chip came up for the 4 groups of British regulars, and they came up and just unleashed a horrific volley on those 3 groups, killing the lieutenant there on the end, and so that caused a drop in their morale. Then over here, the light group that had been there went to fisticuffs on the hill with the rifles, and basically it broke both of them, and these guys had also fired a volley into the rifles, knocking out Lieutenant Sharp, and then he was captured in the fisticuffs. And then over here, a group of grenadiers was just kind of hapless. Their commander was dead. And so when Captain Rios, his chip came up, they charged and basically wiped out the Grenadiers. The supports have come up, and so this, I would think turn 8 would be the last turn. So we'll see what happens. There's only, they're both at morale level 2, so they don't have a lot of room for spare. A lot of flags have been pulled out, so let's see what happens. So, turn 8 was the decisive turn. Weren't as many flags, but the British did draw 2 flags. And so they, once they had them, they did sharp practice with their 4-group line there. The Portuguese moved up on the flank, and the light company got up. The light group got up. This light company was able to fire a volley and take out another Portuguese, but that didn't really cause anything that bad thing that happened. So before the Tiffin came up, the number 1, the leader of that 4-group formation, came up, and they fired. I think they had 35 shots when you totaled it all up, 32 figures and the 4 guy, and very little damage done on them. And so basically the volley wiped out one group, killed all but one of another. So wiped out one, forced another one back, broke the formation. And the net result was bad things that happened, and to take them far below 0. And the British, though, were just at 2, so it was very, very close, very, very close. It was a fun game, and I think I'm getting a much better handle on the rules now. The French had a tough task ahead of them. They're, the post-mortem of the thing. That 3-group formation going up into the woods was probably not wise. It was probably better for them to kind of sit back and wait and let the British come out. And they had superior numbers over here. But anyway, that's not what happened. And you live and you learn. But anyway, very, very fun game. So signing out until next time. Thanks. Bye.